community. Thank you so much for having me. Hopefully, towards the end of the session, we would have a better understanding of the new pilot that was announced on January 30th of this year. So we have the rural and francophone immigration pilot programs. There are a lot of uncertainties yet, but as much as I can, I would share to you my knowledge about the program and basing on the experience I had with the previous program. So, these rural and francophone immigration pilot programs, this were actually po they grandfather the RNIP, the Regional Nomination Immigration Program. And so parang they based it there. And so I have a bit of a knowledge tungkol doon. So I'll be sharing it to you. And by the way, I represent multicultural immigration. So if you see my screen, there's our contact number, and we also have the website and the our email if in any case you wanted to connect with us after this. And so if we talk, it is an opportunity for foreign nationals. So in some specific communities, small communities in Canada, they are still experiencing labor shortages. And so they've come up with this program to help the small communities recruit talents that are mostly not available. And you know naman siguro what is going on with the immigration right now. Talagang I call it purge, right? There is a purging going on with immigrations. Like, merong mga nilabas ang IRCC na mga programs that would limit the chance of foreign nationals to stay here in Canada. So I would not mention all of them, but then, for several months, there has been so many updates that has affected a lot of eligibility requirements of the foreign nationals. And so hearing the RCIP is a good news. We haven't had a lot of good news lately in terms of immigration, and I was really thrilled when this was announced. And main thing though is for this application, for this program, there's only 5,500 permanent resident applications per year. So we don't know when this is a pilot program. So they have not told us when this pilot is expiring. I don't have that information, but we know that they are only planning 5,500 PR allocations per year. And so konti lang siya, right? So maybe a lot are getting excited about the announcement, but then ibig sabihin, hindi lahat makakapasok sa program. If you look at the participating communities, so there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 for RCIP. So for RCIP alone, there's 14 communities, and each communities, they have like 10 or 20 small towns within that community. So definitely, hindi lahat makakapasok. And when I was doing my math last time, I think it would be just around 150 per per communities ang makakapasok per year. So the number is really low. Okay, so we have to set that expectation na this program is not for everyone. Some people might get in, but some might not. And by the way, per community, they would establish their own eligibility criteria. Okay, so what I'm discussing now is the general overview of the program, but per community right here, they will set their eligibility requirement, and sometimes hindi ka papasok doon sa eligibility requirement. But what is common to this eligibility requirements is kapag nasa community ka na, kapag nakatira, and kapag nakagain ka na ng experience in the community, it is a lot easier for you. So I know that most of the participants here are from Victoria. And so if you have plans of going after this RCIP, my suggestion is as early as now, go to that community na tina-target. Because the quicker you get there, the better is your chance to get and maybe a nomination under the RCIP. Okay? So, as mentioned, there's 14 participating communities, and because we're in BC, so I've listed most of the communities per community. So if I mean per communities, I listed the towns and cities. So in BC, we have three communities: the West Kootenay, North Okanagan, and Peace Laird. So for North Okanagan, these are the eligible communities. So if you want to take a screenshot of this one, I don't mind. You can take a screenshot. So these are like ang malalaking city dito is Vernon. It's like few minutes away from Kelowna. And you also have Lake Country. This is like 30 minutes away from Kelowna. Armstrong also is a bit closer to Kelowna. So medyo malalaking cities yon. And then you also have northeastern region. So if you're familiar with Fort St. John, this is the bigger city. You also have like Dawson Creek and Hudson Soap is a bit familiar city. So those are the communities. And then for West Kootenay, so etong naka-yellow, ayun yung mga communities. I think most of us would know Castlegar. Kasi Castlegar is one of the medyo kilalang community. Okay? And then if you want to see more of the participating communities, you could use this link and you will see all the communities. But I don't know how to send this, but maybe later on I can actually, later I'll send it to the chat group. Okay. So apart from the regional or the rural immigration pilot, we also have the francophone immigration pilot. The key idea here is if you are if you are planning on living to these communities, kailangan mo lang CLB 4 or sorry, CLB 5 in French in order for you to get into this program. It's a pretty easy, straightforward program. It's just that, mag-French lang, mag-aral ng French. Okay? And this is how the process works. So it's a four-step process. So first, ang pinaka-importante, and once again, just a disclaimer that, this is a general overview of the program. I am not trying to make it sound easy. General general process lang to, but then again, each community, they have their own unique selection criteria. Okay? But common to these communities and common to the process is, pinakauna talaga is you have an employer and the employer should be designated. Now, if you have an employer within those communities I've mentioned, and they are interested in getting designated, so what they need to do is, of course, they have to be compliant with all the rules and regulations of the Immigration of Canada and even the business regulations. Also, they would have to complete a free onboarding training. And there's also intercultural competency training that they have to complete. And after which, they become designated. If you're asking me how long would the onboarding process and intercultural competency training would be, that I do not know. Okay? IRCC has not disclosed it yet. And they are still in the process of accepting employers. So we don't know yet kung sino yung mga designated na employers. So now, once the employer is designated, the second thing is dapat mag-hire na sila ng candidate. So this is you now. But of course, when they hire a candidate, it has to be a full-time, indeterminate job offer has to be qualified dapat ang job offer. We'll talk about this later on. And then once naka-hire na ng candidate, I think this is the easy part, hiring the candidate, because there would be a lot of interested people, right, going for this. So hiring a candidate would be easy for the employer, but then the next thing, when they hire a candidate, mag recommendation submission na. So the employer would recommend this candidate. And kapag napatunayan na ang candidate na to is eligible in terms of the eligibility requirements of the pilot program, and if he is, or if the employer is eligible in terms of the eligibility requirements as per the pilot, then makaka-recommend na si employer, and then the recommendation certificate, it will be given to the applicant. And kapag meron ng recommendation no, certificate na ibibigay yan sa applicant, and that's when the applicant would be able to apply for PR. If you're asking, paano kapag pa-expire na yung status ko? We know that the IRCC process could take a lot of time, right? So what happens if naka-submit ka ng application, but then your status is expiring? So what you can do is you can apply for a LMIA exempt work permit extension if you're here in Canada. So what happens is, si employer, merong employer portal, he would do something there. So lalagay niya lahat ng information about him and or her, and the job offer. And once he or she completed, once the employer completed that process, magbabayad siya ng $230. And kapag nagbayad na siya, there will be ma-produce na reference number that the employer needs to provide to you para makapag-apply ka ng LMIA exempt work permit. Okay? And so yeah, if you have applied for a work permit, then you would be able to stay while waiting for your PR application. Okay? This is the eligibility requirements based sa nilabas ng IRCC. Okay? So candidates will have to meet the work experience criteria, education, there's job offer criteria, language proficiency. There's also proof of funds and the intention to reside. So when you are trying to go after RCIP, you have to make sure that your status here in Canada is still valid. And also, RCIP is not only open for those in Canada. RCIP program is also open for everyone else. Even if wala ka sa community, open siya. Even if wala ka sa Canada, it's also open. So it's really a competition still. Okay, the work experience requirement is you need to have at least 1 year of experience. So 1 year of experience, it has to be directly related to the job offer. Okay, and this experience should be within the last 3 years, and yeah, it should. If you're in Canada, you should have completed this experience with proper work authorization and temporary residence status. So here's also the thing with RCIP. So depende siya kung ano yung job offer. So like if you are offered a position under tier 0, then you will get 0, 1, 2, or 3. Dapat ang experience mo within the last 3 years in order for you to qualify. So also, it's similar. If the offered position is under tier 1, then you also have to demonstrate experience na dapat under tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. Halos ganun lang yung idea for tier 2, 3, and 4. But keep in mind na if the offered position is under tier 5, dapat ang experience mo under tier 5 lang din. So, dapat within the last 3 years, ang experience mo, tier 5 lang din. For mga students, yung experience nyo during the time that you were a student, it's always not counted. So your experience, the first day nyo would be the time when you are on a maintained status already. So this would be the time that you've submitted your post-graduation work permit, and that's when yung day one na yan is when you, after nun, pag-submit ng PGWP, then you nag-work ka for day one. So there are some exemption, one of which is the international graduate exemption. The idea here is for those who are already in the community, they have some brownie points. So if they are, halimbawa, the international student has completed a 2-year program or longer, dapat nag-study siya within that community and dapat nakuha niya yung program niya no more than 18 months before applying, and dapat nag-stay siya sa community at least 16 months out of the 24 months while he or she is studying. Similar siya when you're doing a master's degree or higher, kailangan same idea. Ang ano lang, difference lang kasi dito, sometimes kasi the master's degree, it only takes a year or so. Kaya they have stated here na dapat dapat the community, the length of your study should be completed sa community mismo. Okay? So that is the international graduate exemption. I had a question before. Paano daw kapag yung program mo is 1+1, will you be eligible? So, for a 1+1, I believe you will not be eligible because if you look at here, it says 2 years or longer. An eligible credential in a program of 2 years. So if you got one plus one program, then baka hindi ka eligible. Okay? And then another exemption is the healthcare worker exemption. So if you were previously a nurse and 31301, then you can make a job offer in the following occupation. So if the candidate was previously a nurse, pwede silang under NOC 33102 and NOC 44101. So kahit wala silang experience, if they were previously a nurse, they can still apply under this category. Okay, and then of course there has to be a genuine offer of employment na hindi lang gawa ni employer, na tunay naman talaga na kailangan ni employer yung services nyo para makapag-operate normally. So dapat the offer is genuine. And then for language proficiency, it is dependent sa tier category level. So if you are being offered a job na tier 0 or 1, you have to demonstrate a CLB level of 6 or above. If it's for tier 2 and 3, it has to be at least 5 or above. 4 or 5, it has to be 4 or above. So ngayon, one question that I am getting as always is, paano daw malalaman kung ano yung CLB level mo? Would it be dependent, or will IRCC will be looking at the average or per category? So to answer to that question is per category po siya. So ibig sabihin, kung ang CLB, nag-IELTS ka, or let's say nag-CELPIP ka, and you got a score na sa CELPIP, it's let's say 5,777. Your CLB level will be the 5. Okay? Hindi yung 6 or hindi yung average. Kung ano yung pinakamababa, yun yung CLB level mo. Okay? And then education naman, dapat lang meron kang educational credential assessment. If you didn't finish your studies here in Canada, dapat meron yun. And you need to demonstrate that you are a holder of at least a secondary school diploma. Okay? If you finish your studies in Canada, then you don't need the educational credential assessment. For proof of funds naman, so for those people that is already employed in Canada, you don't need to demonstrate proof of funds. But for those people na hindi employed or nawala ng status during the time that, they were waiting for this one, then you will have to demonstrate proof of funds, and the proof of funds is dependent kung ano yung family size mo. So, of course, the bigger your family size is, the bigger would the proof of funds requirements be. Okay? So, pero it's not like, alam mo yung nag-a-apply tayo dito for international student na sobrang laki ng proof of funds. It's not like that. Ang importante lang dito is dapat available funds siya. It should be in your bank account bef during the time that you applied and before they grant your permanent residency. Okay? And then, of course, intention to reside. This is very true sa inyo, sa mga taga-Victoria. Kasi like right now, you're in Victoria, right? And then hearing this program, bigla kayong pupunta ng ng Fort St. John, bigla kayong pupunta ng Vernon, 'di ba? Bigla kayong mag-i-immigrate doon, magma-migrate doon. So, it is very important na ma-demonstrate nyo that your intention really is to move, stay permanently doon sa community. Okay? May mga cases kasi na halimbawa, isa lang muna, si principal applicant pupunta lang ng Vernon for the time being. And then, yung family niya, maiiwan mo na in Victoria. That's very true, right? Um, it can possibly, it will be allowed, but then you have to demonstrate that your intention really is to bring your family with you in the small community that you've chosen. Okay? And that's it for me. Yun lang po. Yeah, so if you have any questions about this, and any insights, I would love to hear those. Thank you po.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Debbie. I think, Mike, we can flash the questions that was sent in advance. And then I think I can see some questions as well then sa chat box.
I'll stop now.
Ayan. Ma'am Debbie, maybe we can start first with the questions sa chat box kasi parang ito yung directly aligned kanina sa what you were talking about. Someone asked, how will we know if they are a designated company and do we have the lists for those? I think yung company yung minention kanina.
Yeah, we don't have the list yet. So as mentioned earlier, the IRCC has not provided us the designated employers yet, and we'll have to watch out for it yet.
Noted. Um, Someone as well said that what if nasa Victoria, papayag kaya sa employer na i-accommodate for those na ready lumipat?
That would be a conversation between you and the employer, right? It's really up to the employer. Well, if you've proven yourself worthy, then definitely the employer might give in.
Thank you. Sige, Mike, we can start with the questions that was sent in advance or you need more time. Ayan. This is kasi we had them registered a Google form tapos may space for their question. So this is the first question. Can I be eligible on this pathway if I am under a closed work permit?
Yes, you will be eligible even if you are a closed work permit. Although, 'di ba, ano naman to, discretion ni employer, right? Ng designated employer. So, if you can't, hindi ka agad makakatrabaho, then it might be, baka hindi masyadong pumayag agad si employer to take you in, right? But yeah, definitely, even those people that are from outside Canada, they're also eligible. So definitely, you're also eligible.
Thank you. And what if Crown Agency ang company, so non-profit ang company kasi part of federal government, is it still possible na maging designated employer sila?
That's a good question. To be honest with you, I'm not sure yet. Kasi when I was looking at the eligibility requirement for the employers, it was just like there was no mention of if kailangan ba non-profit organization, what is the ano of the company. So yeah, I'm not really sure if it's ano eligible. I think it's ano, we will be able to answer that once we have the official list of designated communities or designated employers.
Thank you. How will we know if they are a designated company? I think nasagot na siya kanina, Mike. Wala pa daw silang list. And we also have question, the next one. Yeah, nasagot na din kanina, Mike. Can a relative offer a job and apply for upcoming caregiver pilot even in a study permit?
Um, Sige, i-ano natin, no? This is separate from the what we were
RCIP.
talking today, our CIP, but then I'll answer this. Um, Ganun pa din po yung sagot. The Caregiver Pilot Program, although we know that it will be opening on March 31st, we don't have the eligibility criteria pa rin. So, if I am basing it sa previous pilot, you are eligible even if you are on a study permit and even if it's a relative that is offering you a job. But because the new pilot is a different pilot, so I don't have the answer for that.
Thank you. This one, ma'am, I'm not sure if you can answer, pero sabi dito, previously po, listed ang Vernon sa RNIP. Designated employer po ba ang Interior Health before sa RNIP?
Hmm. Hindi sila, the Interior Health is not a designated
I
company.
see. Thank you. How to increase CRS points?
This is about express entry. There's a lot of ways to increase your CRS points. Ang pinaka common ngayon na ginagawa ng karamihan, specifically international students, they're trying to go for they're trying to study French because if you have a CLB5 in all the categories, you get 50 points additional sa CRS score mo. If you get CLB7 sa French category, then you will qualify doon sa category-based selection nila, yung French category, and mas mababa ang points na kailangan in order for you to get an invitation. Another thing also, ang pinaka-importante and kadalasan mas madaling gawin is yung English exam. The higher your English exam is, the higher would be your points. So try to get at least a CLB9 in all categories because if you have CLB9, na ma-max out yung points. May mga bonus points kasi if you have CLB9. And then siguro finally, ang last na gawin is kung hindi pa kayo nag-aral, it could also give you additional points if you study in Canada. And also, if you, it's the same with the workers, if wala pa kayong at least 1 year of experience dito sa Canada, then mas mababa yung score nyo. So, getting a 1 year or 2 years worth experience in Canada would increase your points as well.
Thank you. Can a full-time closed permit worker study or apply as a caregiver? How?
Um, if so two things here. So there is a LMIA pathway. So merong labor LMIA caregiver pathway for those people who are under a student permit or closed work permit. So kapag meron kang employer willing to hire you, willing to go for an LMIA, so the labor market impact assessment, kapag they're willing to do that for you, then pwede ka mag-apply ng closed work permit. So, having a full-time closed work permit, eligible ka to apply for an LMIA. Now, for the caregiver pathway, ito naman yung ilo-launch na pilot program. It's a PR pathway that will be launched on March 31st of this year. Eto naman, hindi pa natin alam kung ano yung eligibility requirements. So, initially, when IRCC announced the pilot, they said na ang mga eligible lang are those people with 6 months of experience already, and it's a direct to PR pathway. So our assumption, my assumption is baka ang kukunin lang nila is from outside Canada. Okay? But that is not, that might not be true. Okay? That is just my assumption.
Thank you. From the chat, ask ko po if pwede po ba mag-aral ng French language kahit naka-closed work permit with LMIA or allowed po ba mag-aral?
Yes, pwede ka mag-aral ng French kahit naka-close work permit ka. Kadalasan ng mga clients ko, what they do para mas makatipid is they enroll online. And then, or sometimes I had clients na they enroll in the Philippines online so that ang babayaran nila Philippine
It's
pesos,
cheaper.
right? Oo, cheaper siya. And then I also have another clients na ang ginawa nila, they hired collectively, parang as a group, there's like sama sila, apat sila, and then they have one French teacher from France. Parang ganun.
Thank you for that. Another one from chat is that can a student or work permit close o can study HCA for a period of 6 months less?
Yeah. That's a really good question. In the past, before November 2024, nung 'di ba ngayon, kapag nag-change ka ng DLI, you're eligible to study right away. I-inform mo lang si IRCC, right? Um, but after November, hindi na pwede 'yon. So normally my advice would be that's okay, right? And even IRCC, they would email you and tell you that it's okay. But like right now, because of all the uncertainties, my suggestion is still try to get a student permit even if you are planning to study for less than 6 months. Okay? Kung ayaw niyo naman kumuha ng student permit, ang sinasuggest ko sa kanila is to contact IRCC directly. If you can web form IRCC and get that answer through what do you call this, paper trail, kung may paper trail kayo, that would be better. Kasi at least kapag na-penalize kayo ng IRCC later on when you apply for something because you didn't follow the rules, at least you have this paper trail to prove that initially you contacted IRCC and you did your due diligence, but then this was the information. So, as a wrap-up lang, kailangan mo ng student permit, manigurado ka, kuha ka na lang ng student permit.
Thank you. Next question, Mike. Do you assist in finding employer?
Um, Before, yes, we do. Very selected clients lang though. But like with with everything, the demand for trying to get an employer is really, really high. And we have very, very few employers, and kadalasan na ng employers namin, they already have selected someone. And so we couldn't assist in finding employers. So, if you have employers already and they want to hire us to process the LMIA, we can do that. But like if you want us to find an employer for you, unfortunately, we can't.
Thank you. And next would be, is there a pathway to get a caregiver for my son? Thank you.
So is this a question na you are a permanent resident here that is wanting to get a caregiver for your son? So if that is the situation, then yes, you can. You just have to make sure that you meet the LICO, the minimum income requirement per family size based on your family size. And if you meet that requirement, then definitely you would be able to get a caregiver for your son. But like if you are a temporary resident and you're trying to get a caregiver for your son, unfortunately, unahin mo muna yung sarili mo before other, right? So yeah.
Next question is, does caregiver job eligible for applying PGWP and spousal work permit?
So the caregiver job, it would fall under tier 4, if I'm not mistaken, tier 4 or tier 5, it would fall under home support worker, or depende kung nanny ba siya, so the home child care provider kayo, if this is your occupation, hindi siya eligible. But like if your duties and responsibilities would fall under the healthcare aid role, then yes, pwede ka mag-apply ng spousal work permit for your spouse's extension. Now, PGWP, applying for PGWP and applying for SOWP is different. Okay? When you apply for your PGWP, ang titingnan lang ng IRCC, dapat nag-follow ka sa rules and conditions when you were a student. And dapat you have your what do you call this? The transcript and the letter of completion. That's it. Okay? So if you are a single, tapos mag-PPGWP ka, yun lang yung requirements. It would be different though kung meron kang spouse. Kailangan mo lang ng job offer, eligible job offer, if you have an accompanying spouse.
Thank you. Next question from the Google form. Is there any pathway that we can do to be eligible for PR, especially whose CRS score is below 400 or 350?
Yeah. This will make you sad. I had like yesterday, I had an opportunity to attend a parang not a one-on-one, but a group session with the Conservative Party. And of course, there were a lot of information shared. And when I asked the question about, there are a lot of international students and temporary foreign workers waiting for them to get a chance at permanent residency, and with all the changes in the immigration regulations, what are the plans para dito sa mga tao na to? So the answer that was given to me is hindi daw lahat talaga magkakaroon ng chance for permanent residency. So it's really sad, but that is the reality, if you look at the allocation for this year and even in the preceding years, hindi talaga siya lahat magkakaroon ng chance for permanent residency. Let's face that. So if you are in a situation na kaya mo pang pumunta ng ibang province, you still have like 1.5 years, 2 years to go to another province, that would be easier for you to get your permanent residency. Let's say if you're trying to move in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, do that now. Okay? I'm not gonna promise you that you become a permanent resident if you move there, but like that is your only chance if your score is below 400 or 350. Okay?
Thank you. For those who are asking questions via chat, tapusin lang muna namin yung questions that was from the Google form. Later on, if we still have time, we will be answering the questions through chat box. Next question is, I want to know about the live-in nanny program.
Mhm. As mentioned earlier, we don't know. We have very limited information about this. But what I can tell you is, first, it will be opening on March 31st. Second, there is only a very limited slot, so not everyone could get in. Third, if you're trying to get into the program, the most important thing to do is to prepare your documents right now. So if you haven't had your educational credential assessment, if you didn't finish here in Canada, try to get that, because it would take 3 months or 4 months before you could receive it. Second, if you don't have your English exam, so IRCC would require you to get a CLB, at least a CLB 4 in all categories. So if you don't have that yet, you get that. And then police certificates, those are needed as well. So try getting your NBI, and even if you went to other countries, live there for at least 6 months since you're 18 years old, then you need a police certificate. And normally the police certificates are valid only for a year. So make sure that your certificates are still valid. And then finally, for your employer, Kasi this program would require an employer. So if the employer it is their first time hiring nanny, a nanny for na ikaw yun, then make sure that your employer has a business number already para sa company niya or him or her as an employer hiring a nanny, dapat meron na siyang business number. So if you have all this four, I think you're set. I'm not telling you that, magiging eligible ka, but then if you have this, it would be easier to navigate once we have the eligibility requirements.
Thank you. Are international students on their last term is affected with the latest IRCC policies regarding work permit? If so, what is the best option to take?
Yeah. Yes, you are affected. So, and kayo talaga ang sobrang affected because you only have like few months, even baka nga few days to navigate the changes, right? What you can do is if you are affected, kung halimbawa before kayo mag-apply ng PGWP, or ng SOWP rather, make sure that you have the job eligible occupation already. So if halimbawa, your spouse's permit will be expiring in April of this year, then ikaw graduate ng March of this year. So you only have like a month to find an eligible occupation, right? But i-sacrifice mo yung, 'di ba kapag tapos ka na ng pag-aaral, hindi ka na pwede mag-work, right? Unless you apply for your PGWP. Sacrifice that time para makapaghanap ka ng eligible employer. And then once you have an eligible employer, that's when you apply your PGWP and the SOWP together. Okay? So ngayon, there would be a lot of competition, international students trying to get an eligible occupation. That is the reality. So if it is very hard for you to get into these jobs, what you can do is apply ka muna, sarili mo muna, and then make sure kapag na-approve ka na, use that time na nag-aantay ka for your PGWP to find an eligible occupation. Because anyway, 'di ba you have like 3 years of PGWP naman normally. Ang regulation lang naman is dapat you have at least 16 months of remaining stay para maging eligible ka to apply the SOWP. So meaning to say, if in hindsight, you still have like, 30 minus 16. So parang 14 months to find an employer eligible occupation para ma-extend mo sa SOW.
Thank you. We still have three questions left sa PowerPoint. Next, Mike. How can I extend my OWP and questions about PR pathways? I think nasagot na kanina to minimally, Mike. So we can proceed to the next one. Is there a list of job opening in these rural areas and are there targeted occupation under this stream?
Yes, there will be. Sabi ko nga, the allocation is 5,500 for every year lang, and I think it will be divided depende sa right? Sa allocations per community. So definitely there will be targeted occupation depende sa needs ng community. So yeah, job openings in these rural areas. Of course, if they're targeting occupation, ibig sabihin may shortage of worker for this specific occupation. So definitely there will be some job openings. But to tell you honestly, I feel that yung talagang makikinabang ng RCIP are those who are already in the community. Kasi marami na silang connection.
Sorry. Thank you. So those are the questions sent in advance via Google Form. I think we can entertain few questions from the chat box. Ang sabi dito is, what if po kung nakapag-apply na ng EE tapos po makahanap ng bagong LMIA na non-skilled?
Okay. I have to ask kasi kung kadalasan kasi, and I have to correct this, when you say nakapag-apply na ng EE, ibig sabihin nito is meron kang profile na invite ka, tapos you submitted the application. So if this is your case, then hindi mo na kailangan ng LMIA. If, I mean, pwede yun, pero like really, you can apply for a bridging open work permit. As soon as you submit your express entry application, you can apply for a bridging open work permit. Pero if you want a safety net, then you can pursue that LMIA. Okay? Hindi naman, depende sa profile mo, pero normally, it's not required to stay within the same company. Kasi kung wala namang job offer, that's fine, right? But like if your situation is when you said nakapag-apply na ng express entry, but in reality, it's just an expression of interest. Meron ka lang profile, but wala ka pang ginawa, wala pang binigay na invitation sa'yo, then I guess it's best to grab that LMIA. Although, make sure lang na you understand that the LMIA points, the 50 points and the 200 points will be gone in spring. So, if you're trying to get that LMIA because you wanted that extra 50 points, you have to think kasi hindi na siya makaka-help later.
Thank you, Ma'am. And this one, Ma'am, would you recommend us moving po sa mga RCIP communities or mas better po sa Atlantic Province na may establish ng designated employers under AIPP?
Okay. Iko-correct ko lang yun muna. Yung AIP kasi ngayon, it's currently closed. So the Atlantic Immigration Pilot is currently closed right now. So yung mga ano naman, yung mga Atlantic provinces, they have separate pa yung AIP, meron din silang separate PNP. So if tayo dito sa BC, we have BC PNP, ang mga provinces, they also have those. So in Nova Scotia, they have Nova Scotia NSNP. So may mga ganyan. So now, if it's really hard, depende kasi siya. There's no answer that would be an answer for all, right? It's not the ano, depende talaga siya sa profile. Like if I am able to know your profile, then I would suggest na ganito ganyan. Pero siguro what you can consider is if you have anyone that could help you in that community. It could be a relative, it could be a distant relative, or it could be friends, mga friends na hindi mo na kinakausap na kailangan mong kausapin. Yun, that could be something and that could give you, mag-network kayo and if you have that network in that specific community, then go for RCIP. But like if your network is in the Atlantic provinces, then go for it. Kasi the most important things with these immigration programs, they are employer driven. So if you don't have any employer, wala kang magagawa, right? So if you have that network that could potentially give you an employer, then baka mas maganda kung doon tayo.
Thank you, Ma'am. We still have 4 questions left sa chat box. The next one is, how sure are we that they will not abuse this program? Like people will offer the job, but with a huge payment.
Yeah. Unfortunately, wala talaga. Wala tayong magagawa. There will always be an abusive, there will always be a bad apple. And we just can hope na wala.
With the current economic trade tensions between US and Canada, do you think it will give a positive or negative impact to immigration?
Yeah, that's actually my that's worry me a lot kasi 'di ba if you don't know so there is a trade war between the US and Canada. Trump yesterday announced that there is a 25% tariff na i-impose sa Canadian imports and Canada retaliated and they also did the same. So it's very complicated case. And so definitely in the coming months, if this goes on, the Canadian economy will be affected. It will be a chaos and for sure there could be people na malilay off, right? And the Canadian government, they are protective of the Canadians and permanent residents. And so, mga international students, unfortunately, or even the temporary foreign nationals, definitely will be affected. If there is less job for Canadians and PRs, ang talagang affected na affected siya, or the foreign national.
And ask ko din po if may pathway ang mga cleaner worker.
Um, there is a pathway, like, depende siya ha, what kind of cleaner. But like if you are a cleaner directly employed by a hotel, dito sa BC, we have BCPNP, entry level at semi-skilled. So, pwede kayo, eligible kayo under that stream, but then because the points are really high, it's very hard to get an invitation, especially knowing na like binawasan yung allocation for BCPNP. Like in the last year, it was 8,000 allocations for PR sa BCPNP, but like right now, this year, they cut it in half and it's now 4,000 na lang. So, yeah, it the score would remain high talaga. And unfortunately also, like if you are a cleaner but then you're not employed directly by a hotel or a resort, then wala kang PR pathway in BCPNP.
Thank you. I think it answered as well kasi nag-follow up siya na cleaner in residential and commercial.
So wala,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. I think this is the last question that we have for tonight. Paano pag iyong spouse ay employed sa category na may labor shortage like construction? Anong impact nun sa international student and their kids?
Mm-mm. Um, Unfortunately, it would be the principal applicant, meaning to say the international student ang dapat merong eligible occupation. So, hindi siya, ang impact noon is since kung ang spouse ang may may eligible occupation, wala siya, hindi mo pa rin siya ma-extend, right? Try mong kausapin yung employer ng spouse mo na ibigay sa iyo yung job para kayo na lang yung para ikaw na lang ang right? And then speaking of the children naman, hindi naman sila affected. Like even if hindi ma-extend si spouse, sila, they can continue studying here. If they are in elementary or secondary school, they can still study for free.
I see. That part, ma'am, I think a lot of international students were confused about that kasi nga parang yung sa child exemption yun pala parang hindi lang sila makakapag-apply for OWP something. If
Correct.
yeah. Thank you. Everyone, we provided sa chat box yung information ni Ma'am Debbie. So again, if you want to reach out to her directly after this session, please feel free to do that. Ma'am, any final words, final advice that you can give before we wrap up our event?
Yeah, so it's really a purge, right now, and even the Ministry of Immigration yesterday that I've spoke with, sabi niya it would be a hunger game daw. Like not everyone could get invited. Siguro ang pinaka-importante na lang natin gawin is make that decision. I know most of us comfortable na tayo dito sa Victoria, right? Like, kasi initially, dyan naman talaga tayo nagstay and we've established maybe a family or maybe, friends na turned family. But then, it's not really about, like, if your goal is to become a permanent resident, for you and for your family, I think being comfortable should not be your priority. It should be kung kailangan talaga, makikita niyo naman based sa profile niyo, if the reality is, wala talaga kayong pag-asa sa BCPNP, wala kayong pag-asa sa Victoria, make that decision to move as soon as possible. And of course, with all the changes in the immigration regulations right now, it's really very important na updated kayo sa lahat ng changes. Kasi you don't wanna miss out any slight opportunity. Kasi kapag na-miss out nyo yun, possibly hindi na mauulit yun, right? So, you don't want to miss that chance. And siguro, ano na lang, kapag sobrang litong-lito na, rather than talking to someone, a friend, pero hindi naman talaga nakakaalam sa immigration. Di ba nga, international student, even mga foreign workers, you spend thousands of dollars to come here, right? So you don't want to miss that opportunity and you don't want to be misinformed. So if there is an opportunity for you, or maybe if you have some doubts and you feel that your doubts hindi nasasagot ng tama, you reach out to a professional, to maybe a lawyer or maybe an immigration consultant para ma-guide kayo ng tama, right? Hindi lang hearsay yung naririnig natin. It doesn't mean na ako talaga yung lalapitan nyo, but I mean, you have to know someone, you have to speak to that someone. If you have to pay, then be it, right? Basta ano lang kayo, you will be provided the correct information, and so hindi ma-jeopardize yung chance nyo for a PR here in Canada. Ayun lang po. Maraming salamat po.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you,
Miss
Ma'am
Debbie,
Debbie.
sorry, I just want
Mike?
to add on London, just a follow-up question regarding with this new pilot program, because I recognize that this pilot program is still not yet launched in other province. Based on your assumption, do you think there will be a changes on the requirements of this that they've been used before from the past years?
I see. Um, I think there it will be almost similar. So, 'di ba, most of the communities, they have established their own policy in choosing the candidates, right? But like I think it would be similar to the ORNIP list of anong tawag nun, mga eligibility requirements. So, it would be the same pattern, but there are newcomers to this program. So, though, like, yung sa Fort Saint John, ano nga yan sila, sa Leord, yan, hindi, bago yan sila na, na community. So, that we don't know what would be the pattern.
Thank you for that. Mike, any final announcements or words of gratitude to Ma'am Debbie for
Yeah, actually, of course, I just want to thank you again, Miss Debbie, for this opportunity. Of course, it's very when we hear this, when I see her post in this about this pilot program, I completely immediately reach out to her and then without thinking, she's always say yes to us. I just want to thank you for this, for giving us this opportunity to share and help our fellow kababayan here in BC or wherever they are. And anyway, moving forward, just want to inform also everyone that this just the beginning of our online sessions and many like I said, Bayanihan Connect and helping one another with our Filipino fellow kababayan who's dreaming or whatever your situation right now. We're here as Filipino Canadian Association, Victoria Filipino Canadian Caregiver Association, and of course the Bayanihan Cultural Housing and Society, and of course the Victoria Senior Citizen Filipino Canadian Senior Citizen Association will be always here to help you guys if you have any questions. And then we on the chat box we have clearly put Debbie's contact details. If you need any further assistance, feel free to reach out to her directly. And once again, Miss Debbie, maraming salamat po for your time. And yeah, wishing you have a good night and have the
visit kayo dito, ma'am.
yeah.
Center. The Bayanihan Center is open for you always.
Exactly.
Salamat po.
Bayanihan Center is always welcome for you. So whenever you pass by here in Victoria, or let us know when you will visit, and then we'll arrange a big
Thank
lechon.
you.
Opo, I would love to, parang we have a session, parang in-person session. I would love
Yeah,
to discuss about that possibility para, I think it's easier and mas personalized if we have that.
yeah,
Thank
exactly. So
you.
we'll stand by. We'll stay tuned on that caregiver announcement, Pat. So for sure, it Miss Debbie will be able to travel here in Victoria. So we're going to do it live and face to face.
Thank you po.
Great.
Good night. Good night, Ma'am Debbie. Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone, and good night, Miss
Thank you,
Debbie.
everyone. Feel free to drop by sa Bayanihan anytime. We have a lot of events prepared. We hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you po. Yeah, bless.
Ang daming nag-join. Sana ganito din kapag ka in person sa Bayanihan.
Yeah, yeah. Maraming salamat po ulit. Yeah.